going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And today we have a really special guest in the building. Listen, this lady here, she's working with King Jammys. She's put out some great music so far, and she's also graced the cover of Riddim Magazine in 2019. You know, we have in the building today, we have Aza Lineage in the building today. What's going on, my sister?
Check 1 3, big up yourself, Muscle. Like each other made me smile, give thanks.
Thank you so much.
I am good, happy to be here, give thanks at a great Muscle Day. So, of course.
Thank you. All right. Well, on the Entertainment Report podcast, we like to go right from the beginning and then bring it right up to 2022. So my first question for you is this: where did you grow up in Jamaica, and what type of child were you?
All right. I was a child of teenage parents, but luckily I had my grandmother around. So it's my grandmother who really grew me, big up my mother and father same way. I grew up in the Kingston 7 community, Hermitage to be exact, Hermitage, Augustone. Grew up with an extended family with my grandmother being the head of the household. She was a police officer. She was also very religious, And in my yard was also a sound system, called Serious Gold. So from them time, they did kind of get the exposure towards the culture, Growing up as a child, with the childish things, we gel with friend them and thing, I was them little artists at the time, them little entertainer, we sing for my friend them and thing. And with the childish things, childhood was good.
At that time there, I get that 100%. So you're saying, so then now, growing up, what did you think you were going to get into? Did you think music was going to be your thing, or what did you want to be when you grew up?
To be honest, when I was going to high school and thing, as soon as I entered high school, my ambition was to become a psychologist because human behavior always fascinated me, So that is what I had my mindset on at the time. It wasn't music.
Mm-hmm. So then when did music start to enter your life? Because as you said, you were their little artists and stuff around the song. When did you start to actually notice music?
To be honest, I realized the talent from I was 6. Because from them time, they used to text it and say, yo, you have to sing something from here. That are my little friend, they must say, yo, sing for me, and I sing for me. So I realized the talent from then. During primary school, I was a part of the choir. During high school, I did the choir for 1 year. And then after leaving high school, I went to work, And it so happened that work was an entertainment coordinator. I used to work in the hotel industry. Singing, dancing, acting, entertaining. So I did that for about 2 years and things. So after I came back to Kingston, because of that, I had to leave Kingston. So after I came back from Kingston, my brethren then now, they know the talent, we're living at the same community, we grew up together. Me, I said to myself, say, all right, me, I go follow this music thing. I don't know why, And it so happened that me and them broke up at the same place. So to me, that was a confirmation, And they might tell me the same thing with me, their thing will make me reach this in the first place, So from there, so that was about 2015, from there onwards, I've been pursuing the dream, the passion,
From there. And what came first? Starting to pursue music or Rastafari?
I think going through my changes, growing up, you get a little older, you gain a little bit more perspective. The insight of Rastafari came before the music. And of course, I always knew that I had the talent. So it's not like me say me I go run out with that. I wanted a change personally within myself. And Rastafari was a catalyst,
And what was it about Rastafari where you said, okay, this is what works for me. This is where you felt comfortable in Rastafari?
The naturality of the people, the naturality of the people, the way of life, is something to aspire and become, and keep ascending and aspiring and becoming. So just the warmness of the people, the knowledge of who we are is laced in the music, and the prayers and the chants. So that did kind of get me, like really, when we really start pay attention to it, it resonated with me as true.
All right. And how does that affect your music and your delivery style of music, say in Rastafari?
Affect? I mean, it gives you a sense of confidence when you know say so many greats have done it before and bring it out into the world, you know. But at the same time, I know that I have to stamp Aza on it same way, you know. So it's a continuation, you know. So it's a topic that we sing about, but it's not. I go through other things, you know, I have other experiences and things, and we have realized it's a holistic thing. It's not just one part of the thing. And really and truly, the faith is for my personal growth and development. I don't necessarily have to put that over in the music. At the same time, you know, it always have to be good, clean music.
Got you 100%. And your name now? How did you get your name?
Aza.
Uh,
All right. So my mother called me Anna. That's the name given to me by my mother. You know, and I did my research and I found out that it was a Spanish name, you know, and I identify as an African, a black girl. So I wanted something doing music now, being inspired by all of the greats, by the culture, by the faith. You know, I wanted something that would reflect um my who I am. You know, so I went in search, just jokingly went in search. I went on the internet and searched names. I don't remember what I typed in, but as I came up.
mhm.
And I was intrigued because there's three letters like my name, you know, A is the start and the beginning is just like one letter different. I researched it and I realized it's a Swahili word that means powerful. Me I say, wow, wow. And then the lineage come from me being a part of the lineage family. It's like a Wu-Tang clan kind of vibe. We link up together, but we do things separately. You know them way. But if needs be, we are going to do it together same way. In terms of music, if you know what I mean.
For sure. I know you've been inspired by people like Dennis Brown, Bounty Killer, Beenie Man, and the Fugees. Tell me what was so inspiring about Dennis Brown himself, Bounty, Beenie, and the Fugees. Because these are Bounty Beanie, those are two similar artists, but Dennis Brown is over here, Bounty Beanie's here, and Fugees are over here. What was so inspiring about those four sets?
All right, Dennis Brown, his vocal ability, the warmness in our voice, you know. All of we grew up listening to Dennis Brown, whether by choice or you walk on the street and you hear it. But just the deepness and the warmness in our voice and his delivery. And that make me love him. You know, and going and being on the trad, me start search deep and find more of his music and more of his interview and just fell in love, you know. So D Brown, big up yourself every time. And of course, condolences to the family. Bounty Beanie, growing up in the 90s, you know, there's a sound system in the yard, bashment going and Ray. You know, them man, there was the hot man them time there, you know, if you say Bounty, you have a ear Beanie, if you say Beanie, you have a say Bounty. They influence the culture so much, you know, so them undeniable, you know. And in terms of the Fugees, at that time, cable was just becoming a thing in the inner city, you know. It's coming from satellite, so we have cable now. So we used to watch a lot of BT and MTV, you know, and from the city Fugees, me click with them, you know.
That was your vibe there. So you said, okay, you went away for work and then you came back 2015 and started to get into music. So what were your first moves to get into the music business when you came back now?
I started following the music and I started following the sessions. I started following the artists, you know. If I know that there is going to be an artist here, I will show up, you know, out of the love of it, you know. Yeah, and then as I said, I linked with my virgin. Them have a little bit more experience than me, you know. So, and a very early step that we had taken was the link King Jammys. You know, he might say, yo, you know, say a king we should go link, you know. And crazy enough, it worked out, you know.
What was it now meeting like somebody in the business as big as King Jammys? What was that like, and how did you even link with him in the first place? Because yeah, your brethren them said, okay, let's go check him. But I know at one time it was always hard to get into Jammys, and you know them already. They see a million artists and stuff like. So what was that like linking with Jammys and actually getting a response from him?
All right, to be honest, it was my brethren smiles. Him say, make we go link King Jammy, you know. And he got a number for him. And he called him. But when he called him, said, King said, him not take the artist right now, you know, because him full. So me don't know what him said to him to persuade him. And him say, all right. Jamaica from link me. And we went and link him the next day. Still had to audition outside, outside before we enter the gate, and we sing sound system theme and thing. And I say, yo, you're bad enough. At that time, I knew who he was, but we never know what the belly I am were. It was the connection that sent me into research. We said, go look up.
Mm.
So at the time, I know say, a King Jammy that and was a humbling experience. But it was at that time that I went and realized the body of work that he did. It was a great experience. We end up voicing the song the same day. Same day. So respect to King Jammy every time. And as I said, humbling feeling. I learn a lot from him, and give a lot of advice. And his musical ability is just out of this world.
For sure, because even a song like Sound System, all right, because I know you say you recorded for King Jammys and you shot the visuals too. How did you even come up with a song like that? And what is it about sound system culture that you love so much? Because you could see that that's definitely a part of what you do is sound system culture.
All right. I guess it was something that was embedded in our eye from the time where the sound system did in the yard and thing. But as me say, coming back to Kingston, and you asked the first move that I made towards, taking a step in the music. It was following the events. So I went to Kingston Dog Club with my brethren there. And when I went there, the first thing to stay on the wall is the only good system is that sound. And it just licked me like an electric. And I say, yo, I never hear that yet. I mean? I say, yo, that wicked. Gabriel is a man, pick up yourself every time. He will play the tune and then he play the version. So what the song when they play at the time, I don't remember, but he played the version and the version, I say, oh, it come to me. That's the only story that you don't take them. And that stick with me for the night. And I go home the night and the following morning finish writing the song. That was 2 years before we link up with King Jammy. That was 2 years because we and King linking at 2016. That was 2 years before I linked him, and singing it and singing it and singing it. That's how my brethren say, hey, King Jammy will link with that song.
That's wild there. And then how did you guys even come up to do the visuals now? Because this is your first song you recorded and you have visuals for it too. That's not common. How did you guys even come up with the visuals now?
As I said, King did love the song still, being a sound system operator, originator himself, for the culture, him love the song and thing. And yeah, him decided to do a video. Big up to Johnny Wonder too, because he initiated the video also. Big up yourself, Johnny. And Damien Gill for catching the films,
Where are your films?
In a water house where enough sound system come from, so.
That's big there. So you're here doing your stuff. So then now after that came out, how did that do for your career now when this visuals and this song is out? Did people start to really take notice? What started to happen then from there?
To be honest, a lot of people start linking up, especially the sound system operators from all over the place, appreciating a song where it's like, it's a big up for them for what them do there. For your occupation, for always sharing the music, but playing the music, a toast to you. So they appreciate it, and a lot of people link up from all over, Well, if people ever want it, talk it style and things, so. We'll give thanks for that song. That song, they are the belly of everything right now. It was a gift. I feel like I'm something we just drop so and say, here, that work. You will still have time to run.
Because the crazy thing, because remember, you went into the venue and you just seen the only good system is a sound system on a wall, and that completely just changed how you seen things right away. And then you just came up with this song. That's amazing right there.
Yeah, man. And to this day, I am still following the events, so in which part the song them up there, the Ricky Tune for the Sound Wave, the 8 Mile, me did it, So it's that thing where even the song, it planted a seed in me. Even I tell my brethren, say, the sound system thing I grew up on me. So me have a genuine love for it, so that any which part it then be there.
Truck. Yeah. I seen you DJ, and the thing with it, when you DJ on sounds, you're DJing on hardcore rhythms, Far East, and all of these type of rhythms here. So you really know the real belly of the sound system culture. That's what you're really interested in.
To be honest, yes, the root. the foundation, the beginning, the column. Yeah, man.
Mhm.
You know, if you know, everything is important, but the root is where everything starts. And me understand that, you know, so me try to apply that in a music, in a anything when me do. If me I research something, me try go to the root and thing, you know. So
Got that. So at this time, you have this song out, you're linking up with Jammy. Did you get management at this time here now or anything, or you're just making your way through the business?
to be honest, you know, we just make it our way, you know. As we say, Lineage is a group of people where, you know, creatively we do our thing, but we still link up. So it's myself and my brethren kind of, you know, just making our way. You know, we give thanks to all of the people who will come along because you have a lot of people who come and say, hey, sister, you need a strength here, so let me give it to you. You know, so give thanks.
Good to go. After Sound System, what else? What was your next song that came out after that then?
All right, for Jammy, the next song we came out after that was They Don't Know, you know. It's one of them rhythms that he had long before me, you know, and had given me the opportunity to come say, you know, think on this album. I think you can do something, you know. So yeah, man, big up yourself, King.
Working with Jammies. No, that's a big deal there working with King Jammies, especially in like a later part now, especially getting to him. A lot of people don't really get to Jammies as a newer artist. Like that. So you're definitely in right company right now. You know what I mean?
True, true.
In the intro, I said that you would grace the cover of Riddim Magazine. That was with you, Leela, and Savannah, and the title was The Future is Female. All right, how did that even come up to even grace a big magazine like Riddim Magazine?
At that time, everything was also, you know, it was like, wow, you know. The member showed firstly shows for the Riddim Magazine, Ellen and Pete, you know. I had done a session with some veteran artists, and I think someone from Riddim Magazine had filmed it and put it out there. You know, it was off the same sound system song.
Hmm.
And, you know, of course, they are constantly on the scene. They're a reggae magazine and thing. We get a link, you know. She expressed the interest of putting me on the cover with Leela and Savannah, you know, which to me was what, you know, so big up is a good thing, you know. It was kind of like Ellen saw the talent and she believed in it and she never itched, you know, right away, right away. She was like, yeah, man, we have to make this happen. So big up to Ellen and Pete, of course, and the whole Reading Magazine.
Big, and I think that's the same year you performed on Summer Jam in Germany.
Yeah, man. It was with the same Reading Magazine. You know, they had the opening slot. So, you know, as me say, she believed in her eye and I believe in her eye too. She said come to the opening and it was nice, you know, nice.
What was that like now performing outside of Jamaica, especially a place where English isn't their first language? How was that? Did they accept your vibe? What was it like now performing on such a big stage like Summer Jam?
To be honest, you know, they liked it because little by little as the time go by, the crowd grew bigger and bigger, you know.
Mhm.
Music is a universal language and they love reggae music. So of course, you know, them catch on to the vibe and they show me a lot of love, you know. To me, you know, sometimes you're in at the moment. Before you go on, you might be a little bit nervous, but in at the moment, you know, so you have a bag lady, put on all them bags and it's time to sing, you know. So it was a nice feeling still, really nice. Yeah.
And that was the first big place you went outside of Jamaica then?
Yes.
Hmm. Have you been anywhere else to really perform like that since?
That was in 2019. No, and then 2020, everything goes down.
Hmm. So it was like the crazy thing was that you did Summer Jam, you're in Germany, you did read a magazine, and this is 2019, right before the world just shuts down. You know what I mean? So you've seen everything going up and then it just stopped. So then what were you doing in the meantime after the world stopped? Did you slow down too? Did you continue to write? Did you continue to record? What did you start doing when the world shut down?
Personally, I did slow down, you know, take some time for introspection, you know, go in. Finally, we silent now, I'm quiet and we can't move, you know, one thing to do, I just go in. We continued to write, you know, For a year or so, I had a live that I did every Friday where I used to DJ on Foundation Dance or Studio One Rhythm. That was my thing. So me did keep myself active and thing. It was kind of disappointing because, it's like you just feel like, oh, hey, this thing going to take some wings now. And then it just clamped down. But as we say, when door closed, will it more open?
Definitely. And I know another song that you had put out probably right around that time. There was No Winners of War, and you have
Yes,
visuals for it too.
yes, I.
How did you come up with that song, and how did that song do for you?
Wow. That song here, like before we released it, I wrote it like a year and a half before.
Hmm.
I was at home. As we say, I grew up in Augusto, and sometimes it can be not so peaceful, you understand? To be honest. And yeah, the sister did send the reading. We made a link over the internet. She started the vibe and she loved it, and we contacted each other and had similar vibes. So she decided to send me a reading. So she sent me the reading, and fire blaze at them time there. And we in the house and decide we are gonna listen to some rhythm. Some of the day I beat out the rhythm and the inspiration come to write it. So and the visuals was done maybe like a year after. So we recorded, released a year and a half after, and then the visual was done a year after.
It seems like you like to definitely take your time. Nothing is done like you came up with it today, recorded it today, and put it out tomorrow. You're more take your time, put it together, and put it out properly. That seems what you like to do.
That's true. To be honest, we'd like everything to be perfect and thing, but sometimes you just have to go with the flow of things. And sometimes that's just how it flows. And we try to work it same. We not try, we work it same.
Hmm. Somebody, when I look at your style, when I hear you sing J and DJ, one person you remind me of is Queen Ifrica. Was going through your Instagram and I seen that you linked up with her and took pictures and stuff. What was it like linking up with Queen Ifrica?
All right. I was epic. She came in when I was performing at Bonnie Miller's Earth Strong, High Liberation, shout out to the king. And she came in on the performance, and when I walked off stage, she said, Empress, yo, what your name? I like your style. And she was just so warm. It's like, and then, yeah, she was very warm and receptive. So Queen, big up yourself. She one of the inspirations. Yeah.
No, for sure. You could definitely hear when you get into your fire zone, you could definitely see, okay, I could tell that you guys that's one of your inspirations. Or even though you're doing it in your style, I could definitely tell she was one of your inspirations coming along the way.
Yes, I. And of course, Tanya Stephen for the writing skills after. And of course, Martha Griffiths for the vocal. And of course, Miss Bam Bam for the fire on the sound system. So, what?
Another one where I seen you appear the other day, I think this was probably earlier this year or late last year, was Boombox Fridays. Because that's what everybody was watching. How do you get to Boombox Fridays?
Wow. We just decided to go on there. As we said, we have followed the events from them time. They didn't know. So anyway, which party them we did it. So me and my brethren them got it. And of course, everybody and Mike did it. The aim is for go sing a tune. And we say it's not an easy stage to get on because everybody, like so many young artists and so many great talent out there, we just come in more while in a bungle, you know. We did end up to do a 15-minute set. It end up it never work out that way there. And General big up on the stage and open it with the boombox rhythm, I think. And if I can write this come up, so we see the opportunity that's on before feet.
Definitely. And that's a platform that a lot of people would see your work worldwide because everybody was and is tuned into Boombox on a Friday.
Chocho. Big up to Boombox.
Yeah, definitely big one. I want to go through a couple more of your songs here. Another one of my songs here that you did was Hitmaker. And what I like with Hitmaker is where you're bigging up all the foundation man that minute still. How did you come up with Hitmaker?
All right. So that's when I went into research. So we link King Jammys now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we went into research. As I said, when I just knew him, we know the hits, we know that this is King Jammy, but the belly and work we never know. So upon beating him, I went into research. Actually, write that song there for the sling thing with him. So me, I say, yo, I write the song and I ask my virgin that I smiles, who depend this, who depend this? And even as being a selector, so I have the knowledge, I'd read him and the name and the artist and when them did sing it and whatever, and can't tell me how much version it is. Then I say, yeah, man, one up in the past day, John Wayne, Ray. I just put them in my little style. It's a tribute to dancehall. That's what it is. Foundation of dancehall.
Big song there. And talking about sound system and selectors and stuff, one selector I see really endorsing your work and giving you a real push is Ricky Trooper. How do you connect with Ricky Trooper?
Wow, I want to say this is how things work. The first day when we go meet King, I don't know if he remember, but him coming at the studio that day when I was recording the song.
Mm-hmm.
They must say, King, you are who this? Who's the bomber? Look here. They must say, your body, that's why we're fighting. Don't go have no baby, no, go out, we're fighting, So from this, we kind of get at each other number and we did make a link theme, we connect and we do some dub plate. And from ever since, Chupa always a show me love. Big up yourself, Chupa, always a show me love, always a encourage. Yeah, man.
No, definitely see that here. And we were talking about Germany earlier. You linked up with Warrior Sound, all right, and put out a song called Try. But this one here isn't your hardcore foundation style. This is almost more like a R&B hip hop. If we're gonna go Fugees style now, because this is now you're going into your R&B hip hop game. How did you come up with Try now for Warrior?
Wow, the rhythm was so bouncy. It was different, different from what we set we mind to. But we don't say trees have roots and branches and they branch off more wild, but it's still the same thing. So everything we put out, no matter the rhythm, it's have a clean, it's have a respectful. But the rhythm was very different, so it just draw that hip hop influence then, which I said was the Fugees, the Ashanti, all of that growing up in time when PT was popular and the thing, I'm saying it popular is not the thing now, but
At that time there, I get that. And another one here, you linked up with Panadub to do a song named Again. This is now where you go back into your heavy dub, rubber dub style. How did you link up with Panadub and come up with that song there?
All right, so we and Panadub link via the internet, make the world a little smaller, always abridging where I show appreciation for the music and the words and, one day he approached me to say he have a Riddim man thing and we just decided to put some work together. As I've never done something so deeply dubbed, it caught me and I said, yo, it's different, And me me don't know, I guess it's just the muse where me love create, it keep me interested. There's just like a little youth, if him get a toy now, say 3-4 days after it's a new toy that he want again. So we write one heap of song and thing, and sometimes that's the mix, It's like all of them is lasting, write them to last and listen them over and over, but it's just to keep, no I go off topic or anything, but it's just to keep being creative. So we link up with Panadub and say, this is different. So it's similar, but a little bit different. Me never go find nothing so hardcore, dubby before, so yeah. Come up with that again.
That was big there. When you could hear the dubs and the echo and the reverb and everything. I said, okay, I love this one here. It's a heavy dub song, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Another one here. I think this is one of your newer songs right now called Ona So. Gold Seal.
Oh, yes, sir. All right, so we're sharing production on this one with Golden Steel and Lineage, the internet has made the place a smaller place. It's a bridging that we connect with musically for some time now, and we've been exchanging musical ideas and whatnot, So he came with a steppers rhythm. I've never done a steppers before. So I say, all right, maybe experiment with that too. So we come up with our song. And as me said, the love with the sound system culture from them time they didn't know, I guess that's why them think they always are coming. I mean, I really plan say, all right, I'm gonna write a love tune, I'm gonna write a rare, I'm gonna write a we get into the zone, sometimes things will just come and sometimes the rhythm carry its own inspiration. So yeah, man.
That's true. Do you have a favorite sound system or selector where you say, this is my song, this is my selector?
Yeah, true. You want to get me in now.
Everything. Remember, this is just opinion and this is just what you like. That doesn't mean that nobody
All
else is
right.
worth or whatever.
All right. To
This
be
is just what
honest,
you like.
you see, my selector, a Ricky Trooper. That's my selector. No bias, no strings attached. I love him because of his passion for the music.
Mhm.
And the realness where him have, them man, they not play with the thing. You see how him go on, sometimes him can't get away with it because guess what? Deep down in your soul, they know same truth to the thing. You know? So I might select that him witty, him full life. Everything where, stamp of approval for a top selector, him have it. And my sound system now, sound wave for the quality, bar none. Sound wave, Father Joe, big up yourself every time.
Mhm. Cool.
You want sound wave for the sound, true palm selector.
Got you. Because I see you like to cut a lot of dubs and you do dub sessions and all that. When you get a chance now to cut dub plates, that's when you really get to fool around with your sound. Do you like cutting dubs?
I love it. It allows me to be creative. And then me in myself, I don't want to give 10 sound man the same though. So I always go in and say, say, I'm gonna make it a little bit different for him. I'm gonna make it a little bit different for him. So that even I sharpen up my own creative skills. So me love the dub play. It allow me to go in a different character. It allow me to come up with different energy. Me love it.
Definitely big, big there. I know
And then
right
they
now.
get it off to when I go on that.
That's part of we get it. That's part of the deal. That's how it works. You know what I mean? Where do you where do you find that most? Because again, you seem to be heavy on the internet. You know how to work with the internet. That's where you make a lot of your connections. Where do you find when you look at your where people are listening to your music? Where do you find that most of your audience is right now that's paying attention to your music?
um when I look up, you can look up the stats on them social media thing. People listening from New York, a lot of people listening from Europe, from Kingston, from Japan, we get enough job requests from Japan, so all over in Mexico, people listening and thing. So yeah, man, we get a lot of response, but those are the places that come up more frequently. You see a lot of people listening in New York, Kingston, in Europe, in Mexico and Japan.
Good to go there. I know right now you and King Jammys are actually working on a full body of work. How's that coming along? And why did you guys decide, okay, you know what? Let's record a full body of work.
Coming along nicely, grinding slow, but grinding still, careful and with about intention and creativity. Him tell me straight the day, he say, yo, me's not no one song man, you have to go give me an album. That was the thing with pleasure. And then the rhythm they went sent so pretty, you feel them in your soul, the bass and the different riffs and the keys, everything.
Do you guys have a date or anything, or is just something you're still working on, not really putting no dates out or anything for it?
It coming together nicely, that's for sure, but we don't really have a date yet. King has a much more experienced person than I do in the business, so me, we didn't put our work, in a respectful way, as a student just did it.
Hmm. What's next for Aza right now? What is it? Where do you want to see your career go? What direction do you want to take your career? Whether it's somewhere to go perform, somewhere. What's next for you right now?
Um, the hearts and minds of the people, I mean, I personally feel like every creative can carve out a little niche for themselves, and you'll get your crowd, however big, however small, who love and appreciate what you do. So, taking it into a direction where we get real fans for the realness, and the music and the persona and the self. And what's next? Shout out to Shout out to Ratatam. We're doing Ratatam this year, so big
Okay.
respect to the team. Yeah, so we're taking things on the road shortly. Yeah.
That's now you're back to Europe again. So it seems like that's where you're going to really get your real break from, is from that European market, because you did Summer Jam, which is a big, super big show out there. And then now Ratatam, that's a big stage, you know.
Ah, butterflies. Butterflies.
Good
Yeah,
butterflies.
man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I mean, let us see, they love it. They love the music and they appreciate it. And this is a result of all the work that was done before. Someone like Berlin Spear and Bob Marley and Master Griffith and the whole works.
Hmm.
So, yeah, man.
Definitely. Listen, right now, the floor is yours. Anything you want to big up, anything you want to say right now, the floor is yours 100%. Leave some contact info for social, dubs, and all those stuff there. The floor is yours 100% before I get you out of here.
All right. Firstly, big up yourself, Muscle, for inviting me on your platform to express I creative self and get to know the people a little bit better way support the music. Of course, shout out to the Lineage family. Smiley, big up yourself every time. As you say, no big nothing. We just making our way, learning and growing each day. So shout out to my team. Of course, shout out to King Jammys same way. Shout out to King Jammys same way. And of course, all of the supporters of the music. You have only for silent supporters. We're just there listening and I soak up the vibe. We love the same way. You have some of them are very vocal, we say, yo, me love this. I love you same way. So to reach out for like dubs and them thing there, you can link up 1-876-283-9422. Yeah, man. And of course, across all socials, it's AzaLineage. Aza Lineage. Some people say Aza Lineage, tomato, but it's Aza Lineage. Yeah,
Same way.
big up Tanta Irish for make the link too. Or you mean, yeah, man, Father Tanta, big up yourself. See?
Definitely, definitely. Aza, thank you so much for sitting down. Because listen, your future is so bright right now. I can't wait to see you. You know what? Where I can't wait to see you? I can't wait to see you in Canada, Toronto, Canada. So we'll sit down again in my studio now and do this again, because then we'll see the growth will be so much. You understand?
I'll give thanks for the full encouragement, pull up my ass. This is
Yeah,
fuel to keep going. So give thanks. Give thanks.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Again, as you said, big up Tanta Irie. He definitely made this
Yeah.
happen. He called me one call.
Original one of the plastic.
One call, I said, yes, let's make it happen right away. I was so happy to actually
Give
make it
thanks.
happen. You understand?
Give thanks.
Definitely.
Give thanks.
Let me give you an outro and get you out of here, because this conversation, epic, amazing conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, Muscle. Check 1-3 from your device. See me as a Lineage representing originally for the one and only Muscle. Tune in to the podcast. Our else you go come last. Rasta only surrender to the sound system. Positive vibration we are bring fast and now in the don't know system. Must be a musical vibe. Hey, tell you where I'm from. Kingston 7 of a car it's slow. No people them have no income, teaching like no food when night. Hey, this is for the Hitmaker. What tell you my Hitmaker? As a lineage a Hitmaker. You the podcast, hit after hit after hit. Line out.
Lineage, thank you so much. You get it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out.
Line out.
This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinesmusichut.com.